Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Travis Johnson for What's Really Good, and I want to get right into it. Let's talk about what's at the top of the timeline. Karmelo Anthony denied a retrial. Let's find out what's really good.
What's really good? Try that talk, why that walk, live it loud. What's really good? What's really good? Bring the heat, keep it sweet, know the beat. What's really good? What's really good?
So obviously, I want to talk about it. I've seen what's going on. I've gotten a chance to get some good information. But before that, let's actually get an update on what's happening with the case.
Over the weekend, a judge denied Texas teenagers Karmelo Anthony's request for a retrial in the death of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf. Anthony was convicted of murder last June in the stabbing of Metcalf during a track meet in Dallas 2025. Last week's hearing focused on a pretrial agreement between both sides that kept character evidence of the two boys away from a jury. Anthony's defense argued part of this agreement kept him from testifying. Anthony will now continue his 35-year sentence. His attorneys say they will move to appeal.
So we know what the decision was. So what I want to get into a couple of different things today. I want to get into the why of the decision, how we got to this point, what could have been done different. I want to talk a little bit about maybe some parenting. But before we go there, there's a couple of different high-profile attorneys that I know just from covering cases. But then there's some ladies and gentlemen that I don't know that I like to watch and listen to right here on YouTube. And one of them is attorney Dennis Sperling. Now, he has handled some criminal cases. He'll let you know out of his own mouth that he doesn't really like to cover criminal cases. He doesn't like to hold back and forth, but he has covered criminal cases, and he is a very good person to listen to as far as getting the straight facts. And when I say the straight facts, he is an attorney that knows how to break it down in layman's terms so that you not only understand it, but he gives you the reality. So he's going to tell you the law, but he's going to give you the reality of how the law is actually practiced in these courtrooms. So I wanted to get an opportunity before we talk to see what Dennis had to say about the denial for retrial.
But what you don't have a right to do is escalate the encounter to deadly force unless a reasonable person in that same situation would believe that death or serious bodily injury was imminent. Who amongst you all thinks that being pushed is going to cause you to die? How many of y'all think being pushed is going to cause? How many of y'all think that these two 17-year-old boys, both who played football, one of them pushed the other one, how many of you all think that's going to cause you to die? I'm just asking. Do you, at what point, don't ever go to a concert again because you're going to get pushed. Don't ever go to a crowded event. Don't go to a club. Don't go to a comedy show. You're going to get pushed. If you think being pushed is going to cause death, you need to stay at the house. You understand that? And the jury felt the same way, even if it was a linebacker push.
And now that we've gotten that from Dennis, like I said, follow him, subscribe to him. So let's talk about, I want to talk about from a layperson's point of view, why I believe, and what I'll always tell people is that my opinion is not, I'm not here to push my opinion on anybody, but I am here to give my opinion on different things that have been presented. And I want to differentiate that from not really having any facts that were presented and coming to your own conclusions. I do not like to be opinionated without some facts being presented. And what I mean is I don't like to speculate. So that's why I'm not really covering the Nolan Wells case, because it hasn't made it to court. They haven't even charged anybody with a crime. So for me to speculate on what's happening in the Nolan Wells case is really, it's beyond the scope of what I like to do. Everybody has their different view on how they want their channel to be presented and how they present information. I just want to present information that can be fact checked. There are absolute sources. The case is in court. There's a docket number, whether people trust the justice system or not, because we're going to talk about that as well. But getting back to the why, let's break things down, because there was a couple of days that in this past couple of days that people were in court. So originally they were in court to recuse the judge that served at the trial. My thought on that is I've got a couple of different thoughts on that. But my thought on that is, number one, I was not there. I have skimmed over some of the transcripts. I'm not going to lie. I have not sat there and meticulously gone over any transcripts or any official documents. Like I said, I was getting information. However, I'm going to look past the recusal. And when I say I'm going to look past it, I'm going to go right along with the recusal, because I just don't feel that the judge should have even been doing interviews. I mean, it's obviously it's not illegal because he did it, and you know, there's been no crime committed. However, it's sort of like it's like a moral crime. Like, I don't think that he should have been talking about the case, especially since the case is still ongoing as far as motions for appeal and, you know, motions for retrial and things like that. So I just felt as though it was in very poor judgment for that judge to be speaking to a media, and I'm a member of the media, and I think it was in very poor judgment, no pun intended, for him to be speaking to the media about a situation that was still ongoing. And then he did say a couple of things that could have been not taken well. He said a couple of things that made it seem, whether he's biased or not, it made it seem like he could be biased, and that's too much. If it seems like a judge could be biased, that's overboard already. So I was with the recusal. So now let's get past the recusal and let's get into the motion for a new trial or retrial. I just feel as though it wasn't successful because there weren't any constitutional or procedural errors. Because the things that they brought up, they might not have been positive things. And I'll give you an example. So one of the things that was brought up was the fact that there wasn't enough, and that's the key word, there wasn't enough public access to the trial. And the reason that I say enough is because obviously there were some members of the public in the court. So there were people that were in that court that were not, say, official members of the press or family or legal people. But the problem that the citizens in that area had with it was that it wasn't enough. So I'm going to give an example. I think there was something like 20 some odd spots, and obviously there is way more than 20 some odd people that wanted to get into the actual trial, the proceedings. So I didn't feel, but that's not really violating the Constitution because you want more seats. Let me tell you, as a person that covers trials, when you go to cover a trial, like, so I obviously cover trials in New York City, you're always going to want more access because you know that there's going to be a limited amount of people that it doesn't matter how many people they let into court. Somebody's going to want them to let in more. So if they let 100 people from the public in a federal courthouse, for example, right? The person that was number 103 on the line, they're going to have a beef. If they got 1,000 people that they let in the courthouse, which would never happen, but if they got 1,000 people that they let into a courtroom, you couldn't even have that many people. But even if they did it, the person that was number 1,001 on, they would have complaints. So I didn't feel that was going to be a reason or a strong reasoning for a trying to get a retrial.
I know you caught him in the bed with a couple chicks, more than usual. But you be doing your thing too. Why you tripping?
No, but this time is different.
How is this different? Y'all be having orgies and all that. What, are you mad he didn't invite you?
I don't give a fuck about that. Oh, you really don't know what happened?
Yeah, he told me you caught him in the bed with 4 chicks.
No, it was 3 chicks and a dude.
Okay, yeah, he was smashing a few chicks with his homie.
No, I caught him with his in homie's mouth.
Oh, hey, Lola, stop playing. Alright? Don't try to play the homie Raph like that.
You think I give a fuck if he's other bitches? Come on, you know how I do.
They also introduced the fact about this gentleman's deal, which I have a whole different set of feelings about. I'm in the middle because I don't know either party. I don't have a vested interest. However, I'm kind of disturbed that both sides made that deal, because they made a deal that caused the public and the press not to have an opportunity to have certain information. Not to say that it would have changed the outcome. That's not. I'm not just going to speculate and say, well, it would have been worse for Karmelo, or it would have been worse for the prosecution. I'm not here to speculate. Like I said, I try to go on things that are solid, that can be proven, that was said, that were heard, that happened, that were written down, that were text, those type of things. I'm not a conspiracy theory type of person. So I don't know how it would have changed the outcome. I don't really care. I only care that they made a side deal that allowed the public and the press not to be able to have certain information. And they allowed the jury. It didn't allow the jury. It didn't allow the jury to have certain information. So that's my problem with the deal. So if I had anything to do with it, I would admonish both sides on making that deal, because you just cut everybody out, and then it blew up in your face, because the reason that you're saying you made the deal was because you didn't want to fuel a racial or a racially motivated environment, and also have a lot of different things that were character based versus fact based being fed to the public and the press. The problem with that is, I mean, the defense and the prosecutors, they may be good at what they do. They may be excellent. They were probably great law students and know how to practice the law. However, they didn't understand social media, because what they did was actually cause a huge divide by not allowing people to have certain information. So they don't get paid to be social media experts, but I'm going to guarantee you, anybody that knows how social media works, knows how the algorithms work, should have known that by withholding certain information and just putting certain information out and pitting these two guys against each other and selling it as, a black guy and a white guy, that was gonna be enough for the internet to take off on its own. If you had allowed people to have the additional information, maybe some people would have felt differently on both sides. Maybe some people would have said, "Oh, great! This is now we're 100% sold. It doesn't have to be anything racial because we have this extra information." Or guess what? Because we saw one of them say this, now we know this. But they didn't give us an opportunity, or that jury an opportunity, to get all the information. So moving on, when we came into this case, so when we got wind of this, when I say we, I'm speaking about the people that are really fact based. I'm a fact-based person. I'm a New Yorker. You have to show me something. You have to be able to prove your points. I mean, even when we used to be on a corner, talking about rappers and stuff like that, you're not just gonna say, Nas is better than Jay-Z. You're gonna have to prove that point. And you're going to have to prove it by making like, this is New York City shit. You're going to have to prove it by bullet points. It's just like in a meeting. You're not going to tell a person from New York City something and they're going to, oh yeah, that sounds like that. So I'm rocking with that. That's not happening. That's not happening. So I'm speaking to the fact-based people like myself. When the case started, we already knew what happened. We didn't know why it happened. So we knew that Austin Metcalf died. That was a fact. We knew that he was dead. We know how he died. We didn't know why he died. So what and once again, I'll say the fact-based people were looking for was, okay, this kid is claiming self-defense. Why did you do it? What were you feeling? What made you feel as though you were in imminent danger? Because I'm only going on what people are saying. Like I read comments just like everybody else. So I'm going on what I hear a lot of people in the public are saying. Well, maybe he was probably scared. Well, there was 2 football players on him, and he was scared, and all of the stuff. He was getting jumped, all of the stuff that we've heard, but we never heard Karmelo say these things, and that's what we were looking for. But we didn't know about that gentleman's deal, and I'm pretty sure. Well, I'm absolutely sure that affected him not being able to tell us what he was feeling. Because as I said in the previous video, he needed to be on that stand, especially speaking to those women that were in that jury. Like, I was scared. I was scared, and one time I got jumped, and I was scared, and I was fearing for my life. Because when a person says self-defense, you look for like, okay, so that really means like guilty of taking a person's life, but within it with for lack of a better word, an excuse. What happened in this case really had nothing to do with the case. And I'm going to tell you why, because those of us that are fact-based, like I said, we were only saying, well, how much time is he going to get? People are saying this guy should go free. That wasn't an option. When you come into a case like that, these type of cases happen every day. That's not an option. The option is how much time the person's going to get. It's not when he's walking free. No, the guy's dead. You don't walk free on that. But a jury and a court might be lenient with you if there were mitigating circumstances. There were reasons why I took this person's life. But you got to articulate that. You got to be able to say that. But what happened in this case is what we're about to talk about. And it has nothing to do with the case. This case is shrouded and surrounded in racism. It really is. First of all, let me tell you something. Before I get into that, let me explain that. And I hadn't thought about this in so many years, and I only really thought about it yesterday. I got to be honest. When I was about 16 or 17 years old, on my son, there was a situation that I got involved in where I'm going to call him an acquaintance. Today he's a friend, but I'm going to call him an acquaintance at the time. And because he was cool with the same dudes that I was cool with, and we kind of ran with each other. Everybody was running together. So he was a football player. It's crazy how similar it is to it, and that's why I was bugging when I thought of this. He was a football player. Very, very, very big dude, almost probably about twice close to twice my weight, but definitely, just bigger than me, man, taller than me and everything. I was a smaller guy. I'm not a huge guy now, but I was a little skinny dude. And, when I was a teenager, so I don't remember what was going on. I remember me being a hothead. Anybody that knows me knows that I was a hothead. So it was something that was said, and then me and him get to beefing, and he punched me in the mouth. And it was one of those punches where when he punched me in the mouth, like his reach, I couldn't even get to him. So I might have thrown a punch at the same time, but he whap, like still got his shit off, and it hurt. And he was big as fuck, like I said. And he punched me in the mouth. And when it happened, there was people watching, guys and girls. We were outside in the street. I was embarrassed. I was hurt, but I also sort of knew from the way that he punched me the first time, I kind of knew I'm not really going to be able to, get my shit off. I knew I wasn't going to be able to really get my shit off. I could tell the way that first interaction went down, right? The way we locked ass that first time, I knew it was going to be hard for me to get my shit off. So pretty much when he hit me, I went over like, shuffled. I didn't go down, but I shuffled over to the right near the fire hydrant. I remember went over near that fire hydrant, and it was like a Heineken bottle or whatever right there on the ground. So like just like on some like like on some real Hollywood shit, I reached down and grabbed the Heineken bottle and cracked it on the fire extinguisher. Like that, broke the bottle or whatever, stuff I saw in movies. So now I got the half of the bottle. You know what it is? I got the half of the bottle in my hand. So now I'm like, yeah, nigga, come on, taunting them like this here. And what happened at that time was, like, of course, he wasn't trying to rush me or anything, but it happened very fast. But my other friends around us, our other friends, obviously stepped to me and was like, yo, Trod, yo, chill, yo, put that down. And they had influence on me because I was always the youngest guy. And that's another thing. I probably had a little dude complex or whatever too, because I was the youngest all the time and things like that. So I was very hot-headed. So, but they had influence over me, and that was good because the fact that they told me to chill a couple of times, like, yo, you bugging, yo, chill. And they got me, and I snapped back and I put the the bottle down or whatever. And I forgot how we squashed the beef or whatever, but that's not the important part. The important part is that if they didn't have influence on me, or they weren't able to step in at that moment, because I've been involved in other situations when people didn't step in, they didn't work out well. So if they didn't step in, and let's just go ahead and say, God forbid, that I went ahead and stabbed this man, I was out of here. Because in New York City, you do have the ability to claim self-defense. I forgot what statute it is, but you do have the ability to claim self-defense. However, it has to be proportionate. And they strictly stipulate in the statute a non-lethal push is not a reason to bring additional violence into the situation. So you're going to lose. So if I would have stabbed this man, and let's say something, he was, as long as he was injured or something like that, on up to, God forbid, if he would have lost his life, like in this situation, this conversation probably wouldn't be happening now, because maybe I would be home by now, but I would probably been a totally different person too. So I wouldn't be the same exact person. So that's how I know I wouldn't be here talking in front of you. So in this situation, it's crazy that I had a situation that was very similar to this, but like I said, it wasn't fueled with additional things going on.
Let me out.
Prisoner 371113, you have been tried and found guilty by a jury of your peers. You have been sentenced to 7 years rehabilitation without the possibility of parole. Food and water will be supplied to you at the discretion of the citizens. The very citizens you chose to betray. Upon successfully completing your rehabilitation, you will be allowed to return to the city and to be reinstated as a citizen.
Oh.
You are where you choose to be.
So back to what I'm talking about. The racism that is surrounding this situation is disgusting. It's disgusting. And it feels very uncomfortable to me. I understand racism very well. Like I said, I was born and raised in New York City. I was chased as a younger dude, maybe about 12 or whatever. I was chased. I went way past the line of where I was supposed to go into another town. And I was chased by probably, I don't know, maybe about 5 or 6 older teenage white guys. And they were calling me a nigger. And in my mind at that moment, I'm a man now, so I wouldn't probably, I don't know how I would think now. But at that moment, as a young dude, my only thing was I thought they were going to kill me. I thought they were going to kill me because I'm young in the 70s. So I'm coming up, Martin Luther King had been killed, Malcolm X had been killed. The Ku Klux Klan was still running around in southern states and things like that. So now I have, these white guys chasing me and they calling me a nigga. And I feel like if they catch me, they're going to kill me. So I get it, man. I understand. But as a New Yorker, I can say that, guess what? That incident happened. But I can also say that I came up in communities, man, in the hood, with Irish people, with Italian people, with Puerto Rican people, with Dominican people, with Haitian people, with all different types of people. So if you want me to believe that every single white person is out to get me, you gotta talk to another guy. Is there racism in America? Look, just as I'm talking to you right now, there will always be racism in America. It's just going to be like that. I'm convinced that there will always be racism in America. Is the white guy some kind of boogeyman that I think about every day? And that every day, Monday through Monday, comes into my life and stops me from getting jobs and ahead in life and got an eye on my bank account and is waiting to chase me around the corner and is ready to hang me when this is crazy, man. This is crazy, man. Now, I may be ignorant. Maybe I'm naive because I'm only a New Yorker. I'm only a dude that grew up in the city. So I get it. I understand. I didn't grow up in Louisiana. I didn't grow up in Texas. I didn't grow up in Georgia. I didn't grow up in, any of these, Mississippi. I didn't grow up in states where, like I said, when I was little, where the Ku Klux Klan, for example, was very prevalent. Hanging people. I forgot the gentleman's name, but I want to say, I don't want to mess up his name. I hope I don't. James Byrd, I believe his name was. He's a black man. And it had to be around 2000 or something like that. That's now, man. I remember this man was dragged. They put a chain around his neck and he was dragged. I forgot which state it was in, but it was in the South. And he was dragged to his death and all of that. Body bouncing all over it. Like literally, he was alive when they tied him up and chained him to the back of a pickup truck because he was just walking. He was walking. His car messed up or something. He was walking down the road. And a couple of dudes ran up on him and got the ups on him and tied him up by his neck to this damn pickup truck and was dragging him down the thing. This was in like 2000 or something. So I'm not here to say racism doesn't exist. I'm here to tell you racism will always exist. Not stupid. But like I said, I'm also not here to buy that every white person or every Asian person or every Mexican person or anybody is against all black people. And if I find that that's true, I don't know, man. I'm gonna have to deal with it. But I don't believe that. That's not what I've been shown. Right? I mean, if we want to get even deeper, I've been shot. I've been stabbed. I did get chased by those white guys that day, but I've never had harm brought to my body by a white person. Only been black people. Black man shot me. Black man shot me. Black guy stabbed me. When I was incarcerated as a young guy upstate New York, even on Rikers Island, I never had a white dude do anything to me. Those was all black guys. And I'm not here to say that every black guy wants to hurt me, because that just sounds stupid too, man. That sounds stupid. I'm going to tell you what happened in this case, and I'm going to tell you what I feel about the whole racism thing, man. My take on it is that yes, it's going to be here. What does that mean though? That means that you will always probably have people around that will judge you immediately and not like you because of the race or color that you are. So there's always going to be people, I don't know how many people, that are going to be like, he's black, I don't like him. Period. Guess what, though? There's also going to be black people that forever, until they die, are going to be like, he's white, I don't trust him, I don't like him. Period.
Damn, man. What the fuck?
But if you're going to govern your life believing that all white people are out to get you, you're going to live a hard life. Your life is going to be tough. And I'm going to tell you something, you're not going to get to where you need to be in life, no matter what you're doing. I don't care whether you got a dog walking business or you got the next hot record label or you're a crypto. You know how I know you're not going to get to where you need to be? Because your mind's going to be fucked up. And you're going to need that mind to reach your full potential. This whole thing about protesting in front of these courthouses, like it's like we back in civil rights, man. Like Harriet Tubman and them is out here still freeing slaves and stuff like that. We gotta, matter of fact, we don't gotta stop. I'm gonna say to those that want to keep that up, keep it up. So for those people that want to believe that in 2026, we are living in the same environment with the exact same threats as when it was 1929, please keep believing that. You're not going to be my competition. So please keep believing that. Please keep operating like that. Please keep putting on the rallies. Please keep having the NAACP come out and talk about how the black man got to do this. And please keep doing that. And let's see how far you are able to push your potential. Because if you're sitting back thinking about racism all day, racism is deep. If you're sitting back thinking about racism all day, you can't possibly put together great plans that you could be putting together for yourself. Because you too worried about the white man. You too worried about the white man coming to get you and lynch you and hang you. Shit sounds ridiculous, man. So it was the public that fueled these things. As a lot of people will tell you, there is black people that are dying at the hands of black people. Like they got switches on guns. It's military equipment and unleash it on other black people in the hood every day. The stories do not make it to the news. They don't wind up on Al Sharpton's desk. And I'm not speaking against Reverend Al. A lot of people speak against Reverend Al. I gotta be honest. I know him. He's helped me in the past. So I'm not speaking against him. What I will say is that as a grown man, I'm a little disappointed in maybe the last one or two situations that he's come into and implied certain things prior to having all of the information. That's what I will say. So I got love for Reverend Al. I truly do. You've helped me personally. A little disappointed because I'm never disappointed in you helping somebody. I'm only disappointed because you incited people prior to having all the information. And that's dangerous. That's dangerous. It's just as dangerous as some of the other people, whether they're calling themselves news media, whether they're calling themselves journalists, whether they're calling themselves content creators. I would never name anybody. I'm not going to speak about anybody. But what I will tell you is this: there's a couple of folks that I personally know. So we know each other personally. Like we pick up the phone, we call you guys, see you outside. Yo, what up? Yo, we did, yo, what's up? What's up? And I watch you on YouTube, on Instagram, on Twitch, whatever it is. And I see you say things that I know you don't believe. I see you say things. Like I said, I'm never going to say who I'm speaking about, but I see you say things and I know that this is not how you feel. However, what you're saying is bringing plenty likes, plenty subscribers, and plenty comments, and a lot of a lot of interaction. Not that respectable. Not that respectable. Not that respectable. I have a son. I also have a grandson, very close to each other in age. They're going to be able to see the things that I say. If I was to die tomorrow, I promise you, I've never said anything that I probably wouldn't be able to say right in front of them, or something that I wouldn't want to teach them. I would hate for my son or my grandson, and they're teenage dads, so they got a lot of developing to do, to be able to look at me on video where you're forever immortalized and go, why did my dad say that? Or feel uncomfortable by something that I said. Only uncomfortable because they know that that's not the truth. They know that that's not how I feel and how I told them and how I taught them. I wouldn't respect that. So I'm saying that because there's a lot of people that are saying things about the Carmelo Anthony case, or that said different things, or that ignited different movements that weren't based in fact and were more based in racism and and sensationalism. And that's not what they really feel, which is crazy to me. So you come on here and ignite whatever your following is, 100 and 150,000, 200,000, 250,000, and you'd ignite that group of people, knowing that some of them are sitting on their couches, crazy as fuck, and can be led and manipulated. And you'd put that fuel in them, knowing that that's not what you would tell your son. Not too respectable. Not too respectable. So, I mean, that's what I have to say about that, man. If the funny thing about the Carmelo Anthony case is it started out as two kids, because they was both like high school age, right? So they kids still, right? So it started out as two kids, but we never heard from Austin because he got killed. We never heard from Carmelo besides what he said on the body cam when he got arrested. But we heard from all of these adults that got us to this point. Think about that for a second. All of this talk, all of the things that people are advocating, the narratives that people are saying, oh, it's this, oh, he was scared because Austin was a book. These are, the kids that were there, they sitting down somewhere, about to go back to school. Some of them are about to go off to college now. But it's all the adults. They've been sitting down minding their business. The kids have been sitting down minding their business. They had to go to court, so they went to court and testified. But all of this other stuff came from the adults. And here's the issue. Here's the issue that I have with that. So you got all these 40, 50, 60-year-old people. Did you see those women that were out protesting? And matter of fact, pull them up right now. Pull up the women right now that were out protesting. God bless them, that were out protesting for Karmelo over the last couple of days in front of the courthouse. Pull it up.
Free Karmelo! 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 What do we want? Justice! What do we want? Now! What do we want? Justice!
These women are all above the age of 50. Most of them are above the age of 50. And you know what they're bringing? They're bringing their hurt, their pain, their sorrow, their anger, all the way back to the Jim Crow times.
Oh my gosh, are you okay?
Yeah, my neck's just hurting.
It's okay. You'll be fine. I got a guy.
When you need a guy, you don't just want any guy. You want a guy that's been practicing law in the state of Maryland for over 25 years. A guy that knows the law, but also knows how to deal with insurance companies. A guy that will work hard for you. You need the law offices of Guy M. Craig. Guy Craig, he's your guy.
All the way back to the Jim Crow era. So the same stuff that their moms told them, that my parents told me, my parents did sit-ins. They held on to that all of this time, and they're implementing the same tactics and the same feelings. They're all against us. They out to get us. They out to. Like I said, racism is not going anywhere. There will be racist doctors, lawyers, cops, whatever. But racism goes both ways. It goes both ways. When I was a younger dude, I said, oh, black people can't be racist. That's hood talk, man. That's hood talk. Black people can just be just as racist as any other group of people, just as racist as whites, Asians, Hispanics. Everybody got some racist people in their group. There's racist people in every group. But if you believe that I sit around every day, or that you should sit around every day like, what we gonna do? What we gonna do about the white boy? What? Like, it's crazy, man. It's starting to really, it's wearing on people, man, for real. It's starting to really wear on people. But that's what drove this case. That's what drove this case, man. Let me tell you something, man. I know most of the people watching know who O.J. Simpson was, right? So I'm old enough to have experienced the O.J. case as a younger adult. So I was in my 20s. So let me tell you something about the O.J. case. Very, very good experimentally. And I'm going to tell you exactly what I mean. From the moment that O.J. was being chased in that white Bronco, we was on his side. We was on his side. And I'm going to tell you why it was from that moment. Because prior to OJ being chased, let me tell you something. There was a lot of people that really didn't mess with OJ. There was a lot of people that didn't mess with OJ within the black community, just like there was a lot of people that didn't mess with Michael Jackson in the black community, because a lot of black people looked at it as, oh, guess what? when OJ became famous, he just, he forgot about the black people. He just, hung around white people. They were his friends, whatever, married to white chicks and all of that. I was there, man. I was there. So don't try to tell me that just everybody just had this wild love relationship with OJ. That's not true. We loved OJ. I was a little kid when OJ was running around as the Juice, and they loved him as the Juice. But once he got off that football field, and they say when OJ went to college, he was a sellout after that. There was a lot of people that said that. Stop lying if you're looking at me, shaking your fucking head right now. So back to OJ. And I'm going to say we, because if my friends, my family members, including my own mother, I'm guaranteeing you, we knew when that case started that OJ Simpson either murdered his wife or had something to do with it or had knowledge of it. We knew that. And we still protected and defended him in conversations, at the job, in the streets. We yelled at the TV when we thought he was getting framed and all of that stuff. I'm trying to tell you this happened, and it's very deep. It's very deep, and I'm going to talk about it.
So I went through the list of females that you sent me, and I got hits on a few of them. First one up to bat is Bonita Caldwell.
Bonnie. Yeah, I remember her.
Yeah, you should remember her. She was very popular in the news about 5 years ago for mutilating several men.
Mutilated them?
That's right. She cut off the penises of about 20 different men.
She cut off their penises?
Yep. 18 penises gone.
Oh.
But anyway, I found out she's being held at the Creedmoor Psychiatric Facility in Queens, New York. I can get you in, but I can't go with you. I got a hair appointment.
There is a hurt that we as black people feel. And I can say we because I felt that same hurt during the OJ case. Man, I knew OJ had something to do with it. But I said, if they get him, then we lost again. We lost again. We always losing. And that's how I felt. And that's how my friends felt. That's how my mother felt. That's how my grandmother felt. That's how my grandfather felt. That's how people that's out in the streets felt. That's how niggas on the block felt. If you're looking at the screen shaking your head, you lying. You lying. I'm telling the truth. So I understand that need for us to win. So you got a lot of people that, when this case started, they look around and they say, they got the black man up there, whatever, for killing this white boy. He's out in this racist town. We can't lose this. We got to, and it becomes a we. And that we is based on skin color. Because we're black, we're supposed to support Karmelo Anthony. And I've been there, done that, man. I've been there, done that. I've been there, done that. I've jumped right out when it was like in the OJ case and other cases, only because the person was black. But I'm a grown man now, man. I'm a grown ass man. Grown. There's a difference between, but there is a distinct difference between, being grown and grown. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm grown. I'm not just going to support wrong activity, illegal activity that hurts people, and then just overlook that because I'm black and the defendant is black. Now, those things may work out. Together. The defendant may be black. And guess what? I'm on your side. But I'm on your side when I feel like you're being wronged. You've done the wrong thing. Somebody's doing something to you. I'm on your side. Not because you're black. I'm not on your side just because you're black. And I don't want you to be on my side just because I'm black. If I'm out here and I do the wrong thing, when I did the wrong thing, nobody ever said, listen, my mother didn't say, oh, my son didn't do it. He did. And that's part of the difference of today. We didn't have this free Karmelo shit. None of that. When you went to prison back in the days, we knew that you did something. We were sad. People were sad for me. I hope you get home soon. We love you. What you need. But there is nobody wore a shirt and, free trav and stuff like that. Because I did something wrong. I was committing crime. What are you talking about? Let's move on to how people feel about the court system, because I'm going to keep it real short in this section. So I always hear people say that the system is rigged against you, blah, 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 all this stuff. But we can keep it short and say, stay out of the system, because most black people keep their asses out the system. That's the real facts. The real facts is most black people are not getting arrested out here. They somewhere chilling right now. There is a small group, and I say small compared to the amount of people that there is. There is a small group, not only in the black race, in every ethnic group, that is aggressive, that wants to continuously get some shit going, that has anger in them, that has hatred in them, and they down for it. They down for it. They come outside down for it. There's black people like that. There's white people like that. There's Asian people like that. There's Hispanic people like that. You want me to keep on going? But this whole thing about everything is about white and black, that's not a fact. That's not a fact. There are some definite situations that are highly based in race. You may go into a store right now in some places, and guess what? You feel the racism running through you could feel it in the air. But if you're living based on that every day, you're hurting yourself. You're hurting yourself. What I want to talk about a little bit before we leave is parenting. Parenting. Because I'm going to be honest with you. From the information that's been gathered to this point, I don't know. I didn't know Austin Metcalf. I don't know Hunter Metcalf. And I don't know Karmelo Anthony. But I guarantee you one thing. I wouldn't want my son walking down the street, going to the store, hanging out with any of them. I don't care whether they white, black, or Hispanic. They were dysfunctional. They had shit going on. One dude wants to write graffiti, the Hitler shit, and the other one wants to lick blood off a knife. I don't want either one of them around my son. So to me, it's not white, but I don't care if a person is racist. I understand a lot more than I agree with. And what that means is that I understand that there's racism in America. I can even understand racism. That doesn't mean I agree with it. What do I mean when I say I can understand racism? I've sat down and spoke to a racist before. And what I was finding out was pretty much that's how the person's upbringing was. That's how they, their dad was. That's how their uncles was. That's how they. So let me ask you a question. If I was black, I am black. So I'm black. So what if I'm raised in a household and an environment where everybody is like, yo, fuck them crackers. Fuck them crackers. Fuck them crackers. Yo, them crackers ain't shit. Them crackers is out to get me. What's the chances of me coming up and being a person that, when I get into my teenage years, that's what you're going to hear coming out of my mouth, right? Like, fuck them crackers. Like, that's what you're going to hear coming out of my mouth. So that's what I mean when I say I understand racism, because I understand how racists are created. I don't care what ethnicity you are. I understand how when you're around people that are talking certain talk and you respect those people, that then you start to talk that talk. It's just like if you're around some of the biggest money makers in the United States of America, and they're constantly talking business, guess what's going to be your new language? It's not going to be racism. It's going to be business. Right? So what I want to talk about is how we don't have the next Karmelo and the next Austin. And that's what's really good. Okay? That's what adults should be focused on. Not, I'm hearing adults, just white, black adults, whatever you consider yourself, just say crazy stuff. It's very ignorant. It's very ignorant. And I'm gonna tell you the truth, man. I don't live there, man. I lived in those places mentally when I was a younger person. I lived in those places. And one of the benefits of the northern East Coast, whether it's New York, New Jersey, or I'm gonna say the tri-state area, is that we are forced to live with each other and make it with each other every day. So just like some of my black friends are Haitian, Jamaican, American born, some of my white friends are Irish, Italian. I have friends from Pakistan. I mean, because what matters is how you treat me in general. Black guy can treat me good. Black guy can treat me bad. White guy can treat me good. White guy can treat me bad. I don't really care about that type of stuff anymore. If a person came up to me right now and they were, I guess, talking some racist talk or whatever, calling me a nigga and stuff like that, I'm gonna be honest, man. I got too much shit. I got too much shit to do, man. Rather be explaining to a cop why I was fighting somebody because they called me a nigga. That's savage type shit to me at this point. Why I would be standing in the street telling a police officer why I came to blows because a dude called me a nigga. Like I said, man, my life is too important, and I have too many things to do for my son and my grandson before I leave the earth. I don't know when I'm leaving the earth, so I'm trying to get things that are important to me. Racism's not important to me. I got to be honest. It's not important to me. It's not what drives my life. It's not what drives my kids' lives. It's not what. That's not what is going to progress them. Back to that other thing, man. If you feel like the system is against you, teach your kids to stay out of the system. And one way you can teach your kids to stay out of the system is teach them how to deal with aggression. Because somebody's saying things to you, and guess what? If somebody is saying things to you and you don't like what the person is saying, you got two choices. You can get on your way, or you can stay there. And in some cases, try to be tough, because that's what I was trying to be when the dude popped me in my mouth. Right? I could have either stabbed him, or I could have jetted. Sure, they would have laughed at me, but do you think Karmelo right now, if you would have asked Karmelo Anthony, hey, guess what? You wish you would have walked away? What you think he would say? Stop playing. If you asked Karmelo right now, he would say, yo, I should have just walked away. Period. And that's where we're going to end this. So I hope everybody got something from this. Keep watching. Comment. Let me know how you feel. Like I said, my opinion is not the fact. It's only my opinion. You have yours. Let me hear from you. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. And make sure you make it over to BGF TV, the new home of independent entertainment.